Hi there folks, welcome back to Rich Reviews. I just got out seeing Spiral from the Book of Saw. This happens to be directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who happened to direct Saw through 4. And basically this is written by the same people who wrote Jigsaw. And after the sort of lackluster success of Jigsaw, people were like, okay, let's put this franchise on ice for a bit. And then after the success of Halloween, which was co-written by Danny McBride, Chris Rock said to himself, okay, I'll inject some life into another sort of dead horror franchise. That happens to be the Saw franchise. Now, Chris Rock brings plenty of Chris Rockisms to this film. Whether or not you think that works is totally up to you. Chris Rock plays Detective Banks. Now, so many years ago, Detective Banks took down a dirty cop, and obviously cops don't necessarily like when you take down bad cops, and he got a bullet in his back for his troubles. And what do you know, he somehow works in the squad room of those same said dirty cops, which leads me to, why would you do that in the first place? Father here is played by Samuel L. Jackson, which is like, how much of money did you dump on Samuel L. Jackson's front yard to agree to appear in this film? Now, I don't know if Samuel L. Jackson has appeared in a horror franchise as of late, although I certainly saw the Conjuring trailer being played for this film. As we see in the beginning of the film, a cop is chasing down a suspect, then of course he gets drugged, then wakes up, finds himself in a Rube Goldberg-like contraption with a TV going on, and oh look, it appears that someone is taking out the mantle of the Jigsaw Killer. Of course, at least someone nobly points out that the Jigsaw Killer, obviously John Kramer, did not target cops specifically. Now it's up to Chris Rock and his father to figure out, okay, who exactly is this person targeting the cops. Obviously, at one point, this title went by The Organ Donor. Now, I remember hearing, at least at one point, from the writers of the previous song that, oh yes, we would like to actually revisit that particular plot thread involving that one doctor and also that hot morgue assistant person. I'm like, no, I really don't want to revisit those particular people. Now again, if you want to do a couple of one-offs every now and again, I'm completely up for that. The problem here is it has to be better than this. The killer is sort of revealed. I'm just sort of like, okay. And the person's main reason for becoming a Jigsaw wannabe is like, okay, sure. I think Chris Rock wanted to go back to a Southern vibe, or Darren Lynn Bousman wanted to go back to that Southern vibe. And I get it, the final confrontation does invoke Seven in a way, but quite frankly misses the complete point of that one film. And how many more times do we have to have that conversation of, oh yeah, it's Jigsaw, but John Kramer is dead. His disciples are all dead, we assume, or in jail. The traps here are some of the most interesting traps that this franchise has created. They're not overly gruesome like so many traps in the franchise has done, although, let's face it, your tongue sticking out, that's not something I would ever want to be caught in real life. Plenty of people have probably stuck their tongue in a freezer now and again. Now, granted, there have been plenty of iconic traps in this franchise. This film go down as having one of the more iconic traps? Probably not. I mean, granted, I think the best way for this franchise to continue is going a TV route, because I think to myself, okay, here's a 45-minute story of cops investigating Jigsaw, and maybe in a couple of seasons we get to reveal who Jigsaw is. There is really nothing differentiating itself from any of the other sequels. Now granted, some sequels have aged better than others. I mean, I think the nadir of this franchise is Saw 5, because that's sort of a highlight reel of sorts. And granted, Saw 3D, if you think about it, is disappointing. I mean, and I know Sean Chandler, who I talk to regularly, says Saw 6 hasn't aged all that well. He's entitled to believe that. I certainly come to believe that 2 or 3 are some of the best sequels that this franchise has put out. In the end, folks, what I'm going to say about Spiral from the Book of Saw, I'm going to be generous, because quite frankly, I hate to see a Saw film on my bottom of the year list. And so I'm sadly going to give this a Netflix ranking. Now, I just expect the Saw franchise to do better. And so, folks, Spiral from the Book of Saw. Have you seen this? What did you think? What's your favorite Saw film in the franchise? As always, folks, like, comment, subscribe, enrich yourself with knowledge. I'll see you next time, folks. Yes, hooray.